Several years ago as a child, around the age of 7 in the town of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, there was a Mexican restaurant that was operational in the same building that is now known as Clancy Irish Bar and Grill. I'm 34 now, so that tells you how long it has been. It's been so long that I actually have no recollection of the event that I'm about to speak on, but my sister swears that the story is true. It was questionable until several years later, my 5-year-old daughter had a similar experience in the same restaurant. Now let me rewind to the beginning of the story. Keep in mind the building still exists under the current restaurant name of Clancy's Irish Pub and Grill. My sister is 8 years older than me, and every now and then, she would always talk about the event that happened when I was 7. At that time, it was a Mexican restaurant that was very popular and well known. As a family, we had gone there one night to eat, and being the ordinary little punk that I was, I'd wandered off to explore and ran up the stairs to the next level of the restaurant. The upstairs was apparently closed to customers and is where the restaurant office was held. My sister said she saw me run up the stairs, and so she chased after me to take me back downstairs. All she remembers is seeing me stop, as if I was frozen, at the very top of the stairs for some reason. She called out to me from the bottom of the stairs. However, she said it looked as if I was staring at something and was in a trance and would not budge or acknowledge her. She then walked up the stairs to grab me, thinking I was ignoring her. Immediately upon reaching the top, she felt a cold chill and said she had felt also extremely uneasy and even scared. A few years later, the restaurant closed down and the building was left abandoned for over 10 years until another restaurant decided to take it over again. My family and I were living only a few blocks away at the time and saw that there was a construction crew remodeling the inside and just doing minor touch-ups to the exterior. Seeing the remodel, I couldn't help but think about the story my sister would speak about from time to time. I told my wife about the story, and of course, she did not believe it. A couple weeks after the restaurant had been open for business, I decided we should go eat there, just to see what it looked like after the remodel, and to also try the food. When we arrived to the restaurant, I picked my daughter up and carried her toward the building. As soon as we got closer to the building, my daughter instantly started screaming and yelling, and having a fit, even though she was perfectly happy while in the car. When we got inside the restaurant, my daughter started screaming even louder, and as we passed the staircase, she looked up and pointed up to the top of the stairs while still screaming her head off. We decided to leave shortly after because she would not settle down. As soon as we got in the car, she instantly stopped screaming and calmed down. This may be a coincidence. However, the next week, my wife and I talked to my wife's mom while visiting her and told her of the story of when I was young. We also told her the situation with my daughter when we went there recently. Her mom asked where it was located, and after we told her, she gave us a very serious and shocked look and told us a story of her own. Her mom told us that her friend at work had recently spoke about her son doing an electrical job at the same building during the remodel. Her friend's son apparently was an electrician and was working upstairs when he heard someone whisper in his ear, "Look outside." Just after hearing that, he heard a loud crash outside. He ran to the window and saw that someone had crashed directly into the parked work truck. He also had told her that he was the only one upstairs at the time when he heard the voice and then the crash happened. This restaurant also later closed within a month and was then bought out by Clancy's. Clancy's is still there, and I also believe it is still haunted upstairs. I've always wanted to visit again and speak with the employees just to see if they had any stories of their own. However, I've never been back since. Thank you for reading. When I was a teenager, I had kind of a chip on my shoulder from family problems, etc. So often, I would not be very emotional with friends or show my feelings. I had a best friend. Her name was Rhonda. We just clicked from the moment we met 2 years prior to her death. We both liked talking about things like life after death and paranormal stuff. We once told each other that whoever passed away first, we would contact the other. Little was I to even imagine at that time that this would indeed come true. I remember one time we went swimming with a few friends, and one friend took me in the deep part of the water, knowing I could not swim, and let me go. I almost drowned, and Rhonda was the only friend who came and sat with me while I was crying because it scared me so bad. She was very empathetic to me. Rhonda herself was an excellent swimmer. She had awards on her bedroom wall that she had earned from swimming events, yet she understood what it must have been like for me to have almost drowned not knowing how to swim. That is the quality of a best friend. In 1982, I was 15 years old and my best friend Rhonda was 17. She was looking forward to turning 18 in 3 short months. We talked daily, went for walks, did all the teenage stuff together. One day she called me on the phone and asked me if I wanted to go to an outdoor type of party at Cullen Park, a small boat dock park at the Maumee River. It was a very hot day in July, the 27th to be exact. She said about 5 other people were going, and that they were going to have a cookout, play volleyball, and go swimming. I said to her, swimming? Why would you go swimming in the Maumee River? She said she had done it before, and that you just had to wear your sneakers or water shoes to not get cut by rocks or glass under the water. I still did not like the idea of going in that fish-smelling dirty water, so I told her and she said, well, you don't have to go in the water. I know you don't swim anyway. She said I can just go for the cookout and maybe playing volleyball. I said okay. I have $20 in my pocket and I could chip in for food and drinks. Yes, I will go. We hung up the phone. I sat there thinking to myself and thought, I just don't know if I want to go. I called her back and I said, Rhonda, I don't know. I think I'm going to pass on this. And she responds by saying, oh, come on, Rose. You will have fun. At first I said, okay, I will go. And then I changed my mind again. Finally, I said for sure no, I'm not going to go. Sorry. And she responds again, fine, be that way, and hung up the phone. That would be the last words I would ever hear from her. I sat there in my kitchen and I felt so bad. I had nothing else to do that day and I thought to myself, maybe I should go. I called her back and her mom answered the phone and she already left. So I pretty much dropped the idea then and there. The next day, I was sitting in the dining room of my home where I live with my dad, and there was a little black and white TV we had on a table that was turned on. The new news was on. I looked at the TV and saw a picture of my boyfriend Doug, who was 18 at the time, and it said that he had gotten electrocuted to death by climbing an electrical fence the night before, July 26th. I was in shock. I could not believe what I was seeing or hearing on the TV. The first thing I did was dial Rhonda's phone number. I wanted to tell my best friend what had happened to my boyfriend. I guess you could say I really needed my best friend at that moment. Her phone was busy. I tried another 3 or 4 times and kept getting a busy signal. I ran down the street 2 blocks down to another friend's house. He was an older friend of the family. I was very distraught and just in total shock. I ran all the way there. He answered his door and I spurted out what had happened and he said, come on, you need to calm down. We can go for a car ride and a talk. So we go to get in the car and a neighbor of his came running up to his car and said, did you hear what happened? He said what? The neighbor said Rhonda, who lived 1 block from him and that he also knew, had drowned in the Maumee River. He said that they were looking for her body. Now, I was already in shock about my boyfriend, and then I hear my best friend is dead. I didn't believe it. I said, no, you are a liar. That's my best friend. My other friend got me in the car, where I proceeded to fall apart crying. I can't remember the ride or even getting home after that, or even what we said. The next thing I can remember is standing at Cullen Park, looking at the river where many others were looking for my friend. I told myself no, she couldn't have drowned. She was such a good swimmer. With all the awards she had hanging on her wall from swimming, there's no way she could have drowned. But what I didn't know was the river has currents in it, and that is what took her down. I had told myself, she must have swam to one of the little grassy islands around there, and she is knocked out, but someone will find her. It was 2 days before they found her body in the river. All I can remember is not being able to sleep, shaking a lot, for months and months. I worried that my best friend and boyfriend never knew how I felt about him. Because I didn't show my emotions or say things like I love you or you are my best friend, my biggest worries were that they left this world and did not even know how much I cared about them. There was no funeral showing for either of them, for obvious reasons, which made it kinda hard to accept they were really gone. So now, skip ahead 5 years. I've been bothered by them not knowing each day of my life. It was something I felt horrible about. One night, not even specifically thinking of either of them, I went to bed. I had a dream. I was sitting in my bedroom and the furniture was arranged just how I had never had it before arranged. And Rhonda, my deceased best friend, was sitting next to me on the bed, and we were talking. I wanted to tell her she was my best friend and that I missed her so much and how much it had hurt me that she died. But I could not get the words out. And then I just realized, in the dream, that my left arm was itching really bad. Before I went to scratch my arm, Rhonda said, "You need to scratch your left arm, Rose." I looked at her and I said, "How did you know my arm was itching?" And she said, I know how you feel." She had a smile and that unique giggle she had that I missed so much, and she kept saying, I know how you feel." The dream ended there. She was telling me she knew the things I was feeling without me actually having to say it. This was a visitation in my dream. I know that for sure. Very shortly after that dream visitation, I also had one from my boyfriend, Doug, who had died the day before my best friend did. In that dream, we were in my bathroom and I was crying. I was crying harder than I ever cried in my life, and he was holding me saying, "It's okay, Rose. It's okay." He also said, "I know how hurt you are, and I know you cared about me." I kept telling him I was sorry, so sorry, and that's where that dream ended. These were not dreams that I willed to happen. I've lost many other relatives, including my mother and father, and I've never had a dream like that about them. I'd never had a dream before those two that were so real to me. I'm 50 years old now, and I remember every single aspect of those two dreams, and I know my boyfriend and my best friend and boyfriend visited me in a dream state because it would have scared me any other way. In the dream, I felt safe and everything felt normal. It was like I knew they were gone in the dream, but it seemed normal to see them and to be talking to them. Wow, I have to say, it has taken a lot out of me to write this stuff out, to go through those emotions again, reliving such tragedy, but I felt it important to share this with you. It is a 100% true story, which can be proved from newspaper archives about both their deaths, and I have copies in a scrapbook and stuff from both of them. Blessings, Rose. It was raining heavily that night. I was on my way back from the night class. I boarded a double-decker bus. Thinking that it might be more quiet to take a nap upstairs, I took a seat on the center of the bus in the upper part. The bus takes 30 minutes to reach the terminal, which was near where I stayed. I closed my eyes, thinking of taking a short nap. After about 10 minutes, I heard a boy talking to his mother. I was sure that I was the only passenger aboard that bus. Then the little boy was speaking in a very different language, from which I could hardly understand. Looking at his mom, half of her face was covered by her long hair, so I didn't really have a chance to see her face. When I closed my eyes once again, I felt like the boy was sitting beside me and was whispering in my ear. I opened my eyes again, and he was at his seat and pointing at me, laughing loudly. It felt so eerie. Then suddenly, I felt a gust of cold wind blow past me, followed by a sound of a girl in a low pitch talking to her boyfriend behind me. I turned my head, and at the same time, the rain and thunder outside the window sounded heavy and loud. I could hardly hear what they were saying. I remember I was the only one on the upper decker when I boarded, and I closed my eyes less than 10 minutes. Why were there 4 others on the bus? I did not doze off, and I'm sure the bus did not stop. This time, I told myself I need to keep my eyes open. I was worried if I closed my eyes again, another 2 people might appear. The rain was heavy and the night was quiet, so therefore the bus driver did not stop at most of the bus stops. There were 3 more bus stops to go. I walked down from the upper deck and stood near the driver's seat. The driver said to me, "What a lonely night. You are my only passenger." and I responded by saying, "I beg your pardon?" There's some other foreign passenger on the upper deck. The driver did not answer me. Then suddenly, the bus skidded and crashed into a tree. I knocked against a metal pole in front of me and fainted. When I opened my eyes, I was still sitting at the bus stop waiting for the bus. It was still raining heavily. I thought I had a dream, but my head was swollen. How can that be? When I turned my head to the left, a heavy-set man was sitting at the first seat. A lady and a boy was sitting right beside me. The lady's hair covered half of her face, which I cannot see clearly, and a boy and a girl were hugging each other behind my seat. I shivered and stood up. The little boy said, "Are you leaving? Our bus is not here yet." I did not turn my head. I waved to the coming by taxi and quickly got inside. When I entered the taxi, the driver said, "What a lonely night. You are my only passenger." I was shocked to hear this twice and felt uneasy. I quickly aligned from the taxi and entered a night coffee shop, took out my mobile phone, and called for my dad. Then the waiter came near me and asked for my order. I ordered 2 cups of coffee, thinking my dad would be here soon. Then I heard the waitress whispering to another, "This lady is ordering a coffee for that little boy also." I turned my head and looked at them, giving me a weird look. The other waitress walked near me and asked, "Are you going to ask your boy to come in, or let him stand outside my door?" I just ignored her, pretending I did not hear what she said, and hoped that my father would be here soon. After the coffee was served, I saw my father enter, and I felt safe. On the way home, I saw the taxi that I just halted was in the accident. It was badly crashed against the tree, and there stood an overweight man, a couple, and a mother holding a boy staring at the taxi, and the nurses were busy carrying the injured man into the ambulance. Lucky, I was not in that taxi. The little boy turned his head, stared at me pointing and laughing. When I reached home, I was sick for almost a week. My mom brought me to a medium, and the medium sent me and my mom to that bus stop to do some spirit chanting and offering. I guess you could say this was one wild night. Hey guys, it's Phantom here, and I just wanted to say thank you so much again for 3K subscribers. I'm never going to stop appreciating what you guys have done for me and my channel, and seriously, if you like this channel even further, please spread the word so we can grow even more. I tripped up on my words, but that doesn't fucking matter. Just comment, like, and subscribe, and you know the rest. To be completely honest, I'm not sure if I entirely believe that last story, but it's supposedly a true ghost story, so, you know, it was entertaining to read, I can't lie. But let me know in the comments below which story you like the most. Anyway, guys, I decided to reread a couple of these stories that I've read in the past, mainly because the second story in particular is one of my favorite stories I've ever done on this channel. So if you haven't heard that one yet, there is your treat. Honestly, I wanted to see how much I evolved since I first read that story, and I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to reread it again for people who have not experienced that story before, and for those who just want to hear my voice again, I guess. Anyway, sorry guys if that seems like a cop-out, and I'm just doing that because, you know, whatever. But it did take me 5 hours to make this video, so in my defense, it was worth it. And if you guys never heard that story before, and never mind, because I totally forgot if I read that or not. No, that's the real reason why, though. Phantom, what are we going to do with you? You spent 5 hours making a video only to reread the same story again. Happy flipping Monday, I suppose. No, but thank you guys so much for putting up with me for this long. I mean, I've almost been doing this for 2 years, and people might be shocked at that, but if you see all my horrible videos from the past, and even now, my horrible videos now, you can see that I'm still very much a rookie, and I have so much to learn. And I've got a long way before I can become, I don't know, anybody's level. I don't even know. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop rambling right now, and I just wanted to say, love you again, and I'll see you in the next video with my shitty editing as well.